A nurse practitioner from Las Vegas who was named one of the top 100 influential Filipinos in the world robbed the American government for $900 million.
Janine and Abram illegal cash kickbacks of $1,000 to $3,000 for every single deceased person's identity they handed over for living patients.
One of the ways that we've been able to detect that fraud is that in many of them, the patients never die. They live forever. That's not supposed to happen in hospices.
Now, one arrest was announced yesterday involving a suspect found in Turkey, another fugitive captured in the Philippines after pleading guilty in a separate Medicare fraud scam and then failing to return to the U.S. for sentencing.
Since June 8th, we've charged 455 defendants across 56, like I said a minute ago, U.S. attorney's offices, and 45 U.S. states and territories. As alleged in the various indictments.
And this particular owner was actually going out and purchasing names from coroners of dead patients and then billing us for those, making it appear that some of his patients were actually finally dying. And while taxpayers funded these false claims, the owner purchased a Rolls-Royce Phantom.
The era of champagne on private jets is over. No longer will champagne and private jets be paid for by the American taxpayer.
I thought this wasn't that big of a deal. I thought it was just people just making stuff up. The fraud isn't that bad. But now we see the hospice in Los Angeles, patients who have never died, and an owner who allegedly went out and brought the names of dead people to fix that problem.
Fox was there as Oren Sachar was arrested by the FBI in Los Angeles, charged with stealing 27 million taxpayer dollars in a hospice fraud scheme, allegedly using some of that money to buy this Rolls-Royce Phantom.
$27.7 million, one Rolls-Royce Phantom, and nearly 800 fraud suspensions out of 1,000 nationwide came from one single state, California. Let's get into it.
One of today's indictments charged a hospital owner in Los Angeles area and two marketers in a $27.7 million Medicare fraud scheme. According to the indictment, the owner paid illegal kickbacks to obtain personal information of deceased Medicare beneficiaries. These defendants did not simply break the law, they violated the trust that patients place in medical professionals.
He was living the high life, he was making millions of dollars fraudulently, and is very brazen. And he finally got caught, and now he's looking at significant prison time.
Federal prosecutors say Sachar operated multiple fraudulent hospices, including one spelled as Holly Trinity. Sachar billed Medicare using names and personal information of dead people that his hospice never treated, getting up to $33,000 per patient a year. Prosecutors are also charging two accomplices, including this man, Abraham Shin, who allegedly helped connect Sachar with Jeannie Choi, the manager of a mortuary, who gave Sachar names of people who recently passed in exchange for cash.
We have a hospital owner in the LA area and two marketers, a $27.7 million Medicare fraud scheme. And the engine of it, according to Secretary Kennedy, illegal kickbacks paid to get the personal information of deceased Medicare beneficiaries. Deceased, dead people. The product being trafficked here wasn't a medical device or a fake prescription. It was dead people's identities brought with kickbacks. A business that allegedly treated the dead as inventory. The reason it ran to $27.7 million is the detail in his next clip. Because a hospice has one problem a fraudster has to solve. The patients are supposed to die.
One of the ways that we've been able to detect that fraud is that in many of them, the patients never die. They live forever. That's not supposed to happen in hospices. And this particular owner was actually going out and purchasing names from coroners of dead patients and then billing us for those, making it appear that some of his patients were actually finally dying.
Here's the part that almost too much on the nose to be a real situation. Kennedy says one of the ways they detect hospice fraud is simple. The patients never die. They live forever. And his deadpan line, that's not supposed to happen in hospices. Think about what a hospice actually is. It's end of life care. You qualify for it because a doctor certifies you're expected to die, usually within 6 months. So a hospice full of patients who are continue to live isn't a miracle. It's a billing red flag the size of a billboard. So what does Kennedy Kennedy alleged this owner did with his immortal patients? He went out and purchased the names of people who had actually died and then billed Medicare to make it look like his own patients were finally passing away, manufacturing deaths on paper to keep the money flowing. And the reward of all of it, Kennedy says the owner bought himself a Rolls-Royce Phantom. Those who are interested or maybe in the car buying market and looking to buy a Rolls-Royce Phantom, they usually start at about $573,000, $150 MSRP for the standard wheelbase. Or if you want to spend a little bit more and you get the extended wheelbase, you'll be spending about $653,000 for the extended wheelbase plan. So in case you guys are interested in that kind of car, there you go. Real quick before we keep going, we just talked about what's going on with this Medicare situation, milking $27 million out of taxpayers. And here's the thing that nobody tells you. Fraud like this is exactly why so many seniors get pushed towards Medicare plans that cost them more and cover them less. Somebody's always getting paid on the back end. That's why I work with Chapter. Whether you are turning 65 or already on Medicare, Chapter searches every plan available in your area, all of them, and finds the one that actually fits you, not the one with the fattest commission. The advice is free, there's zero pressure, and they won't push you into anything you don't need. Call Chapter at 570-906-8018. That's 570-906-8018. Or check out the link will be in the description. Get the coverage that you actually deserve. Now, let's get back into it.
The first half of this year, we made 1,000 Medicare payment suspensions. 1,000. That's a lot of people. Nearly 800, by the way, from one state, California. For a similar period last year, we made 219 suspensions. So a 500% increase in payment suspensions because we're using tools now that historically had been used marginally. Now, these efforts brand all kinds of new tools for Medicare and Medicaid. The fraud war room that has been put together is a purpose-built tool to identify, track, and neutralize bad actors, often from foreign countries, much more effectively than the old system.
He paid them off with bribes like cash, groceries, alcohol, TVs, and furniture just to keep them enrolled. Between 2021 and 2026, this group successfully scammed Medicaid out of nearly $27 million. So this scam was going on for 5 years. They was taking advantage of dead people and living people.
Now, I want to zoom out on this because this is not just a LA hospice problem. So Dr. Oz, the CMS administrator, gave us a number that should just stop us all, considering that most of us are taxpayers. In the first half of this year, CMS issued 1,000 Medicare payment suspensions nationwide, bills that they refused to pay because they didn't believe that they were legitimate. Out of those 1,000, nearly 800 came from the single state California. So let's put this out in just plain terms. 49 other states and the territories split roughly. California by itself accounted for the other 800. That is not just a rounding error, that's a concentration. Again, who is running California? Gavin Newsom. He has governed this state since 2019. Medicare in California, Medi-Cal, runs through his administration. When 4 out of every 5 fraud suspensions in the entire country traces back to your state, it's not just bad luck. It is an indictment of oversight. The receipts say that California is where the money leaks. The governor's office owns the plumbing. Because this hospice didn't happen in a vacuum, let me give you the company that it keeps in this takedown fast.
A nurse practitioner from Las Vegas who was named one of the top 100 influential Filipinos in the world robbed the American government for $900 million. $900 million. Now y'all heard that right. $900 million. She took the Little Kim song to heart. Black Barbie dressed in Bulgari. I'm about to leave in somebody's Ferrari, and I'm not even joking. She bought a Bulgari necklace for $900K, and she had a Ferrari. That was about $565,000. And she built a resort in the Philippines that was bigger than Mar-a-Lago, where Trump lives. She was getting about $1 million per patient from patients who were terminally ill, doing grafts on them that they didn't need. Some of the patients died within days of her doing this grafts on them. She had a whole cartel Ponzi scheme going with this.
The allograft scam. Officials said that the skin substitute billing exploded under $1 billion to nearly $15 billion. One Nevada nurse practitioner allegedly took Medicare for close to $1 billion, performing these procedures on elderly people in hospices and nursing homes. The White House task force word said living piggy banks. She allegedly bought a $865,000 necklace and a near $500,000 Ferrari. Both were seized. The wound care indictment, 11 defendants, over $2 billion in alleged claims, a corporate executive charged in Arizona. Check out this luxury list. Multi-million-dollar homes, a nice Maserati that costs $135,000, and the construction of a $4.6 million hotel at a beach resort in the Philippines. Another story here, the 11-second EKG. A doctor allegedly signed off on a cardiovascular test results in roughly 11 seconds without reviewing them. One patient, a student athlete, Caden Francis, had an enlarged heart the test should have caught. He was cleared to play and died of sudden cardiac arrest on the basketball court weeks later. The autopsy, his heart was 2.5 times normal size.
The parents who had been marketed to, claiming that their kid might be at risk, were therefore told the kid was fine, when in fact nothing had been done. The October EKG was read as normal. The kid was dead a month later. Now, I talked to the mom, of course, still in pain. The family was told the tests were normal. Unfortunately, and despite all these internal communications that we revealed, which acknowledged by the company that they knew these were not normal tests and they had done something terribly wrong, they kept doing it. So that kid was hurt irreparably, passed away because nothing was done about these fraudsters, and they went right after it. Their company billed over $90 million while a child was buried by their family. No remorse whatsoever. Caden's mother wanted me to give you a quote. I'm going to read it exactly as she gave it to me. The doctor is as bad as any greedy criminal who is killing people in the streets. I hope he rots in jail so no one else is hurt. But my son will never come back to me.
And the last name worth to talk about, some you may already know. This person, according to reporting in this footage, he admitted to helping to run a scheme that took Medicare for at least $1.2 billion over 5 years out of a Philippines-based call center, pumping out bogus orders for orthopedic braces.
Herbert Kimball admitted to helping run a scheme that bilked Medicare of at least $1.2 billion in fraudulent charges over a 5-year period, with Kimball's Philippines-based call center pumping out dubious orders for medical equipment, mainly for orthopedic braces. Each order came with patient information, a prescription, and the equipment that was supposed to be shipped. Officials say the telemedicine doctors used to sign off on these orthopedic braces often had no real relationship with the Medicare patients.
He pleaded guilty back in April of 2019. His sentencing was set for August 2024. And obviously, instead of showing up, he stayed on the run in the Philippines, and the FBI says they finally caught him there 7 years after the plea. So here's the pattern across every single one of these issues. The hospice with immortal patients, you got the Ferrari nurse, you have an EKG that was only for 11 seconds, then you have this billion-dollar brace mill. None of them are exotic, they're all the same move. Build a program nobody was watching closely enough and run it until the data catches up. The data did caught up, slowly, after the luxury cars have been brought or the Philippines hotel being built and at least one dead teenager. So you look at this LA hospice is just a symptom of a bigger problem. It was taking Medicare money, $27.7 million, kickbacks for the personal information of dead Medicare beneficiaries, fake deaths manufactured on paper to keep the billing alive. And then once that Phantom was paid for, allegedly by all that kind of money. And the number I really can't shake, nearly 800 of 1,000 fraud suspensions in the entire country out of one state, California. That's not a coincidence, and it's not weather, it's oversight. And the oversight has a name and it has an address. Gavin Newsom has run this state since 2019. When the receipts say that your state is where 4 out of the 5 scammers are hiding, the governor doesn't get to call himself a bystander. We're gonna probably see more people get arrested, more people being charged for fraud, and we'll continue to follow this story. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.